Hello and welcome, Cosmic Quantum Traveler. I hope you're all doing well. I'm just going to wait a moment. I know the last week has been very, very intense, hasn't it? At least for me. There's a lot going on, as we can all feel, I'm sure. So I wanted to talk today about the return even to Source Blueprint, shifting of the poles and completing the transition to New Earth. So organic ascension realities, basically. Hi, Heather. Hi, Paul. I'm glad you are still kicking around. I know you're not feeling so good. Sending you loads of love and healing. As I said, there's a lot going on. I've written about it as well over the week. I've been shifting through it myself, I can tell you people. It's like being in a movie. So yeah, what I'm seeing is happening is that we are about to go full-blown expansion. The results of our transmutation shall be seen in its full glory, or at least, let's say, we will see the results showing up in a really big way. That's what I'm seeing, okay? So we're on the stairway to heaven. I see that it's basically the start of the party. I know we can't feel it maybe just yet, and I'm also a little bit, just coming out of the heaviness and density of what we've just been through, which is really the final deep, clean purification. And obviously we're still kind of in it, and everybody's in a different space, okay? So these energies move through in waves. Often I feel them as one of the first ones, yeah. And then, other people are feeling them a bit later. Like, for example, for the last few days, there was a lot of nervousness, anxiety type feeling. I feel quite fine today, but I know then a friend of mine was asking me, what's going on with the energies? I'm feeling very nervous and anxiety. And I said, that might be it. The wave might be hitting you. So basically, I'm going to go to that next. First of all, happy Chinese New Year. It's the year of the tiger, the water tiger. And I looked it up because I'm not really into all of this stuff and don't really know that much about it. But it symbolizes power, courage, confidence, leadership, and strength. And that is really the theme right now. Because we need a lot of strength, and we need a lot of tenacity, and we need a lot of perseverance, and we need to just really be present with whatever is arising right now and work through it, because these are huge collective themes, and we are now rising really from a lot of false programming that's anchored in disempowerment, because we've all been victims here and victimizers, but to really break out of these false programs and fully come to reclaim our true power from within, which is not like the power we've been taught, because you need to remember it's all in reverse here, okay? So the kind of power that is wealth or status, money, that kind of thing, does mean nothing where we're going. The power we mean is really the power of be your true self, having the courage to be your true self, despite what anybody else is thinking, for example. Success is really doing when we love what we're doing and doing what we love. That's true success. I mean, what does success really mean if you have all the money and the car and the house and even the, kind of magazine family, if it's not real? It's not making you happy. At the end of the day, you will still be empty. So, most of us know we are here to anchor new blueprints and templates and programs. And part of that is dismantling them from within us. And that can hurt, quite frankly, mentally, emotionally, and physically. Because whatever is clearing, all this old programming, which is totally been wiped, is held in our body. And it has to move out. So when we know a little bit about the connection between the mind and the body and illness and disease, we can then quickly see what are the relationships between what's going on within the body and what might still need to be resolved at a deeper level. But I truly believe that all is being healed now. We just have to believe and be open to it. I think it's happening one way or another. but it certainly is going to go a hell of a lot easier and quicker the more you can just relax into it, or at least not resist. And I know it's not fun, okay, because believe me, I've made a PhD in suffering. I really have. I've done many years, always, even before this journey, okay, I've always had problems with anxiety and depression. Many of us have, because we're highly sensitive people. This is not, you know, how the world is supposed to be. So and you know, people that are diagnosed with mental illnesses, and it's really imbalances, really are highly sensitive people with gifts and abilities. Just in the Western world, they're being deemed crazy, and it's the furthest from the truth. They just need the right support, which they don't have in the society. So, but ultimately, these are all of our gifts, and we came here to transcend all of this programming. But when I went through my worst years, my daughter was small, I was going through really heavy, deep clearing, physically, mentally, emotional. Nothing needed to happen. I was just going through, you know, as if somebody died or I'm being killed on the inside. Now, I had a lot of interference, which I didn't know at the time, such as psychic attacks, that they were happening. So it wasn't all just ascension and me clearing, and not just me being such a terrible person. No. So there's a lot, you know, that comes into it. And we definitely had a lot of interference, especially last couple of weeks, because we're here now. Okay. Obviously, they threw everything at us that they could and still can. Still be vigilant over the next few days. Okay. And I mean, always be discerning and, you know, be present with what's unfolding and look for warning signs, but generally just, you know, it's done as I can see it, okay? And this is now party time coming right up, but as the event is coming up, just be, you know, extra aware still, of course, okay? And obviously some of us are still very deep clearing. Now, with the video, I've had people before talking about the videos not going well. Every video I've done so far has had no problems on my end. That's all I can say, and I can't see any problems. But, I mean, we will see after. I will also download it later on YouTube, yeah, for the ones who might not catch everything now. I want to come back. So anyway, as we go through these deep clearings, as I went through them, okay, and at the time you don't quite know what's going on, you think there's something wrong with you, you know, you go through all these things, but all I'm saying is that once you cleared everything, you do not react the same anymore to triggers. It's like an unhealed person could be offended by basically anything, okay? Anything and everything can trigger you in the wrong moment when you're in the wrong state of mind. If you're a healed person, it doesn't matter what's been thrown at you, ultimately nothing can rock you. And that's what we're going for here. Yeah, so we do have to be strong, but we are strong by actually feeling the emotions, because we have to connect the mental and the emotional body, which is also the masculine and the feminine merging. And there has been a disconnect also on light body level, and between the heart and the mind and right and left brain, yeah. So we really need to merge all that, bring it into coherence by sitting with it, not descending into despair, to be the observer by knowing that you are not the story that is playing out here. You are a character being played by the universe, ultimately. Once you understand that you should not identify and personify, so take everything personally, that you're really here just playing a role, everything gets a whole lot easier. And then you need to keep reminding yourself of that. That's the tricky part, obviously. Because it's our pain body constantly being triggered into the trauma and then reaction and projections and drama and hurt and pain. Yeah. But ultimately, the cure is in the pain. It really is. I can say it from having done many years, you know, training and lifetimes, really. Like, we are the salt of the earth. And I can speak from that because I do a lot of transmutation work, so I do know what it feels like. And after a while, though, it's that you are then, you know, you feel for other people and you're supportive and you help, but you won't try and fix them anymore or enable them, yeah, or try and, you know, do what's best for them. No, you're there shining your light. You're there if they want your help. You don't suffer along with people anymore. but you're, you know, compassionate, you have empathy, of course. You can feel what people need, but you then are, you know, you're in super empath, you're not no longer codependent and, you know, these energy feeding frenzy games going on anymore. But as sovereign in your own right, you see the other person, everyone is sovereign, and in an interdependent way, you can all help and support each other. Okay, but we can't fix it for other people, we can't take it off them, we can't do it for them. Okay, so at the moment we need to hold a lot of space for ourselves and for other people as well as they go through it. But, you know, just know to strike a balance, because ultimately this is all about balance of being supportive and maybe overstepping the mark. Yeah, because there's a lot clearing right now collectively, really. Yeah, the cures and the pain is from Rumi. He said it a bit differently, so I didn't come up with it, but it sure is true. So yeah, so the Happy Chinese New Year, I mean, this is more of a New Year than the Gregorian New Year. Anyway, so there's a lot of energy coming in. There's a new moon as well in a few hours. I'm not really into the moon things, but there's definitely, you know, an energy obviously to that, and also the energy around the false moon matrix is clearing, what I'm seeing, because everything is shifting. Okay, so anyway, so it really is about the energy now for us to fully step into our strength and be brave. And that means that we also are brave in facing our feelings, and especially for the masculine, and I'm talking about the masculine within us all, okay, to really connect now with our heart and our soul, with our feeling, with our unconscious, which we need to make conscious, because this is where the gold is. Because once you know thyself, you will know all kinds of cosmic shit. And once you know thyself, you know your strengths and your weaknesses, and nothing anybody says, thinks, or does really affects your, you know, sense of self. And this is all about unifying the sovereign being into the wholeness, the great I am, but being both and, where, you know, here's my boundary and this is my limit, and where you also understand the other person is another you. It's both and. And that's the tricky part, yeah? Because there are obviously a lot of inversions and false programming also in the spiritual community around, you know, for example, neutrality. Divine neutrality doesn't mean that you just sit there and take nonsense from other people, okay? It means to say, no, stop, here, don't talk to me like this, to walk away, or to, you know, do whatever is necessary to protect your space. That's called self-care. We all need to learn boundaries here. And a lot of this has been all down this inverted polarity, the distorted polarity, okay, because we can't get rid of polarity. It's very much being represented by the archetypal forces or archetypes of masculine, feminine, and victimizer and victim, and narcissistic and codependent personality types. And we all are all of these things, just to different degrees and at different times, and also with different people. We might reverse roles depending on who we're with, okay? So we all have these traits, and we really need to transcend them now to come to union and merge them both and clear out those, you know, behaviors, belief systems, programs around this that are not useful, and keep that what is. Because it's really not, you know, neither of them, like both of these sides have the same issues. Let's take, for example, codependent and narcissistic type, okay, that always will gravitate towards each other because it's like magnets. You are opposite end of the poles, you're trying to resolve the polarity, ultimately, okay? And you will keep coming up with these scenarios until it's resolved from within, which we're doing right now, okay? But basically, what do I want to say? There's a lot of data deletion happening, so if I, you know, lose my train of thought, that's just what it is right now. Oh yeah, so between a codependent narcissist, they both have issues with boundaries and confidence. And we all have issues with confidence and self-love, really. Because if we wouldn't have, like if we were all happy with ourselves and loved ourselves and were confident, there really wouldn't be an issue here, okay? We would all get on with each other. But basically, both of these types have the same issues or wounds, for example, a lack of boundaries, but they go about it in a different way. So the narcissistic type thinks everybody's there to serve them, and the codependent is like serving everyone and overgiving, and the other one is overtaking. Okay, and we need to get the balance right. Well, yes, it's service to others, but not just. It's also service to self. We cannot forget the self, okay, because that's not serving anyone. Especially with mothers and the feminine, they have that programmed into them, okay? And these archetypes just are often portrayed within the feminine, like the woman and the man. But ultimately, again, it's the masculine, feminine within us all. If we keep coming across abusive masculines, for example, it's our own inner masculine being kind of projected back at us. It's just that it's a suppressed, unconscious aspect of us that, you know, is coming out to be seen, so we can transcend these games and delete the programming. So this is really what's happening right now. And it's really tough. So there's a lot of gaslighting going on, a lot of projections going on, you know, a lot of big themes. It's like what we've been feeling over this last week has a lot to do with really letting go of all that we have been and that was, and so we're able to welcome the new. But it's really deep. So even if we think we've gone through certain, you know, soul themes that we all have millions of times, we might go through it, we are going through it one last time to fully resolve all of that. Because as all this karma is clearing, we need to resolve these karmic storylines. And as the trauma clears, the karmic storyline is clear. And as they're being triggered, they help us clear. So it might not be enjoyable right now, but it's necessary. And ultimately, everything is always necessary, otherwise it wouldn't happen. But we also need to learn from these experiences to then figure out what worked here and what didn't, so we don't have to do it again and again and again. And that's a very important point. If we don't get it, we will have to do it again and again. And we don't want to do this anymore, do we? No. So we go within and we sit with it. And you don't have to do it all day long. Take some breaks. Everybody needs a little bit of distraction, okay? Otherwise, I mean, there's just so much. I spent a lot of time contemplating, going into myself, self-review in silence. That's what's necessary. This is how I can do what I do. Because this is where all of our wisdom lies, okay? And this is where we unlock everything. So it takes a lot of that to get to know yourself. And you can't avoid it. And for women, it's a little bit more easy because we've learned more of the programming was more around, we were okay, it was okay for us to cry and be close, connected to our emotions. But also because the feminine represents the heart and the emotional body. And again, the masculine more the mind and the mental body. So they find it a little bit harder to connect with the emotions, but that's exactly what's needed right now for this final merge of the masculine and the feminine within, again, for all of us. It's about energies, not gender, because we're ultimately androgynous in form, in energy, but we are here ultimately like me. I do have a lot of masculine energy as well, but ultimately I'm here to anchor, I work a lot with the feminine and mother energies. But I do embody ultimately the Trinity. That's what I'm here for. That's what we're all here for. Masculine, feminine, divine child. But the divine child can only be born now when the masculine and the feminine stop bickering. And, the war of genders needs to stop. And that really is within, because that's the ultimate source or the origin of the first split is between the masculine and the feminine from the androgynous form. This is what it comes back to, and then we see all these other polarities playing out there. And the polarity consciousness that's distorted is reflected in that, in the victim-victimizer, in the gender war, in obviously the distorted polarity consciousness, and also in the grids. So everybody is a bit bipolar here because the grids are bipolar, okay? And as we go through this journey, all of this stuff comes up, and also through this journey as we expand, and we have these expanded consciousness uplifting experiences. This is like an expansion, and then afterwards you contract again. It's this bipolar, up and down, And it's part of this until we get to this where you're not anymore. You know, I can go through deep clearings, but I'm still kind of in a, you know, I can still do whatever I need to do. Although, of course, some days you're just kind of, you know, going to take a day off or whatever. But you get me. It's like it's not going to influence your life as much anymore. I can really go through deep clearings and still be okay. And, you know, it's like you don't suffer along with it anymore. I'm not saying that it's comfortable or fun at all, but it just moves a lot quicker as you don't have the resistance to it anymore, and you allow it to just move through you, because we are the transmuters, we are the alchemists. We have taken on all these stories, all these distortions, all these programs in order to purify them through us, the Bodhisattva. And we're not finished until we're done, because we are all one. And we are just trained to come in here and do that. And everybody's playing a role. It's like we are the brain and the heart of the planetary body. And that's just our job. And the hands and the arms are doing something else. That's their job. Okay? So ultimately we're all sacrificing ourselves in order to alchemize the human consciousness and for it to come to its resolution. And that's what we're doing here. And everybody has a different part of the consciousness. And the mission for all of us here is to clear the template and the blueprint. That's where everything comes online. Your DNA comes online, your gifts and abilities, your memories, your mission. You remember your mission. But you have to clear out all the crap, so you have to sit with it. There's no way around it. I know it's not easy, but that's actually bravery, being able to face yourself naked, face on. No excuses, no nothing. It's not about blame or shame at all, but you need to feel it in order to transcend all of these programs. Because it's held in your body, in your cells, as trauma and wound imprints. And they keep you down in density. So you have to feel them for them to come up and out to be released. It's the only way. There's no way around it, quite frankly. Sleeping and resting helps a lot also. You know, there are obviously also other things we can do, but you can't get around that part. That's what I'm saying. And that's true bravery. Okay, men out there, all right, if you like, women really appreciate a man crying. We're not talking about a sobbing mess, although that might want, you know, we've all been there. It's fun too, but you get me. Yeah, like let's break through that programming and really embrace our emotions, because that's the key to your heart opening and to ascension. Because that's where your soul moves into and all of your other levels. If the heart isn't open, we can't do this. And this is what is happening now. We are transcending the ego at a collective level, because only the ego is really, you know, the one who's gonna fight and resist and be jealous and see the other person as a threat. Okay, the integrated ego has a strong, healthy sense of self, but they know whatever another person does or doesn't do is not about them, it's about the other person. If I get triggered, then that's for me to sort out. Yeah, that's why then these co-creations happen. To resolve it further within, to go deeper and deeper and deeper until it's done. Because the matrix, ultimately, it's all thought. All of this is thought. It's a holographic quantum projection. So there is a bigger sunspot group with growing complexity facing Earth that already released an M-class solar flare on Saturday. It's giving off consistent C-class solar flares, and that M flare was a CME directed at Earth. So that's going to arrive sometime later today, like here where I am. It's already early in the morning on the 1st of February. And that the geomagnetic storm of that one will probably hit us later today, tomorrow on the 2nd. So, I mean, the 2nd, obviously, is a big date. I think we can all feel it. The whole month of February has a 2222 signature all over it. For me, that also means it's like a source code, really, which fits perfectly in the source codes that we have reclaimed now and are busily downloading and activating, because all of creation is returning to its source code. So to a pre-birth kind of record, but it's not even birth on this planet, but our original blueprints with upgrades. But it's like a total reset. And that's the birth transduction reset I spoke about previously in my previous writings. And yeah, I'm not sure if my last video, but in a few posts this week. So basically, I expect, as the geomagnetic storm is happening, there to be at least one or a few bigger solar flares, and this finishing off the job of taking down the artificial magnetosphere, because it's distorted, it's been manipulated. And again, I do not see any big catastrophic events happening, quite the opposite, okay? Yes, we're talking about a pole flip, but again, we need to understand this is a holographic quantum projection, and I'm going to go into this now in a moment, of how we're going to work with this, okay? Because anything and everything you see is ultimately an agreed upon reality by the one consciousness, okay? So we can rock this by manifesting the highest and transcending any remaining fear. Because I can collapse collective timelines by sitting in them, releasing any fear, and then I can literally feel them collapse. And we all can do that to certain degrees. With our own timelines, definitely. And, you know, depending on the codings as well, you know, if you work with collective timelines, that's, you know, there for you to do. If you get aware of things like a war timeline or whatever else it may be, really work with it. And I spoke about this in my last two videos on how to work with the timelines. So check them out on YouTube. So what I see is the pole shift happening, which is connected with most likely solar flares and geomagnetic storm. Now everything I'm seeing, okay, it's my perception, it's my observation, call them predictions, whatever. They're my messages. I'm supposed to impart them. I'm not saying they're written in stone. Ultimately, everything is in flux. But I see very high probabilities of this at the moment. I feel it. I'm very calm about it. I don't need to figure it out. I just know good things, miracle things, miraculous, big-ass surprises are in store. And I really have no fear of any big catastrophes. And because we are clearing all of this, the energy of it, so we don't need to have these kind of realities appearing. Like, we're doing so much work in the higher dimensions and, you know, our higher aspects in collapsing any of these false timelines. Like, they're in total collapse mode. They are not happening. I'm telling you now. Any like false flag type thing will stay that way, and it's just revealing and unraveling the lies and corruption behind it. That's what I'm seeing. Okay, so that's that for my part. That's what I'm perceiving. So I'm sensing this is it. I'm being highlighted today till the 6th, depending on where you're living, as days. So let's see. Oh yeah, and let me just share, if I can even do this now. Can I share my screen from here? I think I did it once. Where can I share my screen? Can I share my screen? Does anybody know? Well, I might not. I will share it later on underneath the posts, but I've shared them before as well. So basically we have an axial tilt in the earth, because I have some visuals that are nicer to show with this, but I don't know right now how to share the screen. And this needs to be corrected because we've been feeding into a phantom matrix, okay, which is fully being dissolved. Nothing is being left behind, okay, of these old realities, as I am seeing it. Basically the axial tilt, because all the planets and the earth are not in the right order, and some have, you know, for example, these, you know, the central column, so to say, of earth is tilted by about 23%, and that is not natural, okay? So this is being fully corrected, so we are pointing north into the Andromeda galaxy, which is the true north for Earth, and it's also the twin galaxy for Earth, okay? So this is happening, and then I also do see a pole flip and shift, so from 2 poles to 4, which would be the natural energetic flow on a personal level, so in our own energy field. So imagine it like a cross, okay? So you don't just have energy running from north to south and back again, but also from east to west and back again, okay? And this has also got to do with your own alignments of your vertical staff and rod, as you call them, and they meet in the high heart. And it's also connected to your Merkaba light body vehicle and the corrections there, because there, you know, everything has been out of whack really, together with all the light body damage and so forth, which we've been very busy healing. So there's a lot of, you know, the grids have been clearing. We've done amazing work. The crystal core is literally ready for the full activation. I mean, these activations have already happened over the last few months, but what I'm seeing is, as part of the false distorted magnetosphere, which is already weakened, coming down and being replaced by a natural plasma shield that was there before. And the new grid coming online is also connected to the crystalline core, because the crystalline core is connected to the magnetosphere of the Earth. It's also connected to the crystalline grid of the Earth and the crystalline caverns. And they hold the true history records also of Earth and of humanity. So, and we also have all of this inside really. So, you know, I imagine really, I mean, ultimately the whole cosmos is me and inside of me. But then also, you know, the Earth, different levels. So whatever level I want to work with, I tune into. If I want to work on planetary level, I do that. If I want to work on cosmic level, I can also do that and imagine it literally inside my body. That's how I work. And we all can do that, because we are literally the whole cosmos. Anything I share here, all of us can do, okay? It's just we all have different, you know, areas of expertise, or where our gifts are more pronounced, stronger. And that's for us then to obviously, you know, figure out and remember again, which is all connected to the DNA. And that's really powerfully coming online, because that's what we've been clearing, especially this last week now with the transduction record reset, which is literally resetting our personality to, let's say, a solar system, how it would have been without all the cataclysmic events happening, you know, boxing all out of shape and all around the place and out of kilter, so to say. Okay, so we are literally shifting personalities, and that's what you need to see as we are transcending the collective ego. I mean, what is your personality? It's a fleeting character you're taking on, and you've played many in many different lifetimes, so all of them are merging now. So your sense of self that some people might be hanging on to for their life is an illusion, and it's constantly shifting, changing and expanding. You're not the same person you were yesterday, last week, never mind a year or 10 years ago. And nor will we be tomorrow, next week, and so forth. Constantly shifting, changing, and expanding. That's the fun here. So there's nothing to hold on to, ultimately. That's the illusion. Your source self is the watcher. And that's the one who now collapses all of this nonsense in the 0 point field. Doesn't mean you have no discernment. Of course you do. That's why you know what to collapse and what to create. But you do it from that still point, from divine love and neutrality that isn't resisting, fighting, rejecting, judging, in conflict with anything. You can't change anything you're in conflict with, least of all yourself. So you have to love it first, then you get to change it. At the very least accept it as you are, because as you are is enough. Because it's the programming telling you that you're not enough. And there's something wrong with you. When you give that idea up, you will feel your natural true self coming online very easily. And that's happening now, basically automatically. And people can struggle, obviously, with that. But if you just let it flow through you and know this is not you, and you are the watcher of your experience, and know you are transmuting and transcending and purifying this for everyone on behalf of all, because we are all one, and when one suffers, all suffer. That's why we do this. I don't do what I do just for the good of everyone else. I also do it for myself, of course. But I know we are all one. It's one and the same, ultimately. But I'm not going to sacrifice myself, ultimately, for just to make another person feel happy. But yes, we do sacrifice ourselves, each one of us, for the greater good. Even the people that don't know Ascension is happening, by just going through the life experience. Life is the mission. Just making it through the day, trying your best, trying to break through the programs. And ultimately, this is also not about spirituality as such, but it's about mindfulness and becoming super conscious. And that we remember again, we are constantly co-creating these realities as one. And that's how we change the hologram. Never mind about all of that other stuff. Okay? Like, obviously, remembering ourselves as God is us transcending the ego. And that's us now in divine union, birthing the earth and unity consciousness through our consciousness. Unity consciousness, that's the new grid system, through our embodiment of that. As you are being the change, that's the mission, and you are birthing the earth, each one of us, even the man. So that's the job right now. And that's where we need to be brave and sit with the feelings, no matter how uncomfortable it is. Okay? Nobody said this was easy. This takes a lot of perseverance and tenacity and strength, but it's not as we think, from the programming it is. It's literally just being brave to sit with your feelings, to sit with yourself and being fully honest with yourself, because you can't lie to source, you can't lie to your higher self ultimately. It doesn't work now. And all of these false projections are becoming very obvious. So I feel the solar flares, geomagnetic storms now coming on. We are waiting them, they're predicted, I do believe they will arrive this time. Are going to cause a activation of the crystalline core, and therefore then taking on the false magnetosphere and activating or bringing fully, like more like a switch over to the new grid system. So really, this is for me the full dismantling of the artificial overlay in a physical sense, because it's already happening on a program level and consciousness level, and the physical is the last. And as I said, I've just been getting the message that the event, as in this, will be happening. So, and this brings online unity consciousness. It's all interconnected. Okay, also with our DNA and our light bodies. So I feel this is it. Everything we've been waiting for, everything we've been hoping for, really becoming very, very tangible. How quickly, I don't know. But let's see, we'll find out. What exactly is going to happen, I cannot tell you. That is as much as I basically can see right now. And again, this 4 poles is basically us having an energetic flow that is, us reconnecting back to source, and it's perpetual. So it's an eternal God source backflow return, or perpetual energy flow. So you don't just have a certain amount and you have other people kind of feeding off you and one day you run out. But it's forever, eternally perpetuating. But then you also need to have a sovereign energetic field that does not feed other, people, entities, parasites, and you don't do it either. So we don't do these games anymore, victim, victimizer, because that's the feeding frenzy that happens down here, okay, where we feed off each other. The, kind of this codependent, narcissistic play that we have going on in various relationships and to various levels. So that is what needs to stop. That's why sovereignty and doing our work is the key to all of this. It's all interconnected. It's not just one thing. So I see quite the opposite of something catastrophic happening. I see the false matrix totally collapsing and dissolving, or going in total collapse mode, which it already is. And the new truly arising. I really feel magic. That's what I'm feeling. Like, I'm not saying right now I'm feeling happy, happy magic, but when I tune into what's coming, that's what I'm feeling, okay? So just, be with whatever it is, but just not know, but like tune in yourself. What do you feel, and if you feel any fears coming up, really sit with them and try to work through them and release them, because that's when you can work through the feelings connected to that and release, the ones based in fear equals the fear matrix. You let go of those realities. you release them inside because they're held in your DNA and in your body and in your cells. So if you can work through it energetically, that's why sleeping and resting is really helpful, because you can avoid a lot of trouble because you're working through it whilst you're doing that, instead of having to act it out in reality and working through that in a more exhausting, dramatic way, if that makes sense. Because when you do this for a few years, you don't have that many dramatic things usually turning up anymore. But again, I mean, I did deep clearing and nothing needed to happen, and I was going through really deep clearing. So, but I'm just saying, certain things will happen in our reality. If you have a lot of fear of something happening, you're fueling that reality. If you cannot get rid of your fear, it's very likely that it's going to be, you know, coming into manifestation, just to then for you to transcend the fear by going through it. Yeah. So this is us returning to organic ascension of realities. So again, as I said, also what I really see is that this is a veil. This is not real, as in, of course, everything is a holographic projection, but this is like a fake, artificial, reversed reality. Okay, and this is not organic, it's artificial, and it's been put there by holographic inserts. Now, holographic inserts are really false projections within a consciousness. Okay, this is why we're working right now on transcending any false projections, and that's the really important part, because that's what we need to dismantle within our own matrix in order for it to dismantle out there. Okay, and false projections are, I think we all know what it is, yeah, when I'm accusing someone else of something I'm doing myself, which will always kind of be the case. That's the problem with this whole victim-victimizer programming. It can get really, really, really deep, where in the end you don't even know anymore who is doing what to whom and who owns what. You know what I mean? It gets really, really bad, where this is also a thing at the moment where people might find a bit of madness, because you don't even know anymore who you are and what is yours and what's another, if that makes sense. Yeah, because ultimately, if something comes up in your reality, it's also yours to transcend, even though you might see the other person doing it more, but it's still in the field and you can help it to transcend. Because ultimately, this is the whole thing. It's not even about saying, oh, this is yours and this is mine. It's in the field, so it needs to be cleared. So it's not personal. Yeah. But obviously, if somebody brings drama to your doorstep, you know, you need to say no. So in future, you don't have these entry points anymore. Because, you know, sometimes you have people in your life, I know a friend, like he has one friend, he constantly, you know, when he needs help, he comes to him and he keeps helping him, but he's enabling him because the other person's taking advantage. So he needs to stop it because it's an energetic leak. It's not helping the friend, it's not helping him. So we need to stop enabling, you know. This is the interdependence where it needs to serve both. Both need to feel comfortable with it. There needs to be an, you know, roughly equal give and take on some level. You know, where not the one person just constantly gives and the other person constantly takes. That's just not how it's going to work. Everybody needs to pull their weight. And of course you will have times when you pull your weight a little bit less or whatever. But generally speaking, okay? Because it's about equality and each one understanding they have accountability and responsibility for the realities we are co-creating together. Dreaming up together, quite frankly. And when we are projecting the wrong things at each other and not owning our stuff, because that's when projection happens, when you don't sit with it. Because you act out of trauma and wounding. And you project it at another. And this is how we're constantly perpetuating all of this crap. Because you don't sit with it. And we just go, bah! And then like, here, you have it. And then more shit everywhere on the walls. Everywhere shit. Okay? You don't need to shit show anymore. So take that shit, sit with it, and don't multiply it. All right? If you need to scream and be angry, do it in a space where you don't hurt another person. Okay, and then when you've come to your senses and you feel more clear, then you make a decision or have a conversation with a person. Yeah, but not in the heat of the moment. We need to get away from the impulsiveness. We really need to get really mature with our mental and emotional behaviors. Merge the bodies, mental, emotional body, physical and spiritual. And unify them and bring them to balance and harmony. And we can't have that when we project and don't deal with it and constantly point a finger. That's the reversal. That's the inversion. because you need to really turn it back around. And that's also part of the pole reversal. So if we stop playing these games of distorted polarity, like victim-victimizer, the polarity, the distorted polarity stops. It's all interconnected. So I hope that makes sense. Yeah, because the pole shift is literally happening within us as we're breaking through that distorted polarity programming within us, which is mainly representing this reality through the victim and victimizer, or the codependent and the narcissist. This is ultimately how it's being played out here. But as I said, it's also an energy current within the grids. But that's been shifting. So that was another thing of the 22nd of January activations, was the moving from the bi-wave to the tri-wave. So in the grids it's happening, it's in our DNA it's happening, from the double helix to the triple helix. It's all happening, we're transitioning. That's why this week has been so intense. So as the polarities are being harmonized and brought into balance through the 0 point field that we're all anchoring and embodying now, or getting better at, the imbalances coming up and out to resolve themselves and collapse within the 0 point field. So that's why it's been so intense. But even me knowing what's going on, you know, it's still intense. I also had to work through some hairy things, situations. So, but just know it for what it is and don't take it personal, and also don't demonize anyone, because we're all playing roles here. It's not personal. Okay? So, and again, as we reverse these games and no more have this distorted polarity but come to balance within, so does Earth and its poles, energetic poles, because all of us together make up the planetary body. So when we keep everything calm and balanced and in harmony and switch over to the tri-wave, 0 point field, and the new consciousness, we take everyone with us, because this is now the unification through transcending the ego into the one consciousness. We're remembering ourselves again as one heart, one mind, one body, one soul. Okay? So, but as this happens and resolves itself, all the imbalances and polarities are coming out really loud to be resolved through us. Plus all these really big themes like betrayal and big fears coming up. So anything that's really preventing us from ascending is coming up, and really big themes for the final release. Okay, because we now understand why it's happening, why it's happening. Ultimately, it's so the one consciousness can reconcile itself and birth anew in a workable format that serves everyone. But we're getting there through the conflict and the distortions. It's through the opposite that we're going to get to, you know, through the contrast, you know what you want. And we're figuring it all out together, because this is all feeding back to source. All of our experiences, all of what works and what doesn't work. Even when you think you haven't done nothing, you're doing it all the time. That's the illusion, because it's all in reverse here. Take your pride from really just working through the stuff. Like I knew, even, you know, when I was just working through the stuff, I mean, what I also did, I have to say, to get you out of depression and psychosis and, you know, not feeling well, creativity is the key. Like the last 2 years, like doing what I'm doing and sharing, and, you know, it keeps me sane. It gets me out of feeling funky sometimes. Of course, some days I might not, you know, feel like it, but generally that's what keeps me going and keeps me occupied. And I know I'm making positive change. That's what makes me feel good. So even through all of this nonsense happening, ultimately it's way in the background. I'm focused on totally different things. And that's so important, because it really, you know, it's part of mental health, creativity. And helping other people makes us feel good. And as we're helping others, we also feel good. But again, we also need to know when to say stop. Like I would be naturally more an overgiver, and I needed to learn how to put boundaries up, or to say, no, I need to switch off now, or I'm not going to do that, or, you know, like really learn myself when to stop myself, because I easily just keep going and going and going. So that means, again, different for everyone. Where is our imbalance? Where are our imbalances still? You know, where can you bring more balance and harmony in? Depends, will be a little bit different for everyone. So holographic overlays are false projections. Okay, so that's why we're dismantling them now. And that's knowing ourselves is the only way to not falsely project onto other people anymore. Okay, and come to peace within. That's the way we're stopping this now. All right. So, and even in quantum physics, it tells us that we live in a holographic projection of our minds. And this is the key, I think, the right and the left brain can agree upon. And most normal people can agree upon, because even science, normal, mainstream science can agree upon. And we can agree upon. So, it's an agreeable factor. Quantum realities, quantum physics, okay? So our brain projects and hallucinates our conscious reality. It's been proven through experiments. Yeah, so right and left brain here agree, all right? So the question is, and I read this today, it's not my own quote, someone else's. So will you be a victim of the illusion or a master of the fantasy? And that's the question. So, are you going to believe in the illusion and think it's all real? Or do you remember you are in a dream and that you're here in order to actually master the dream and co-create a dream super consciously now? Because this is what it is all about. You can make this as complicated as you want to be. Okay? And your highest source self knows all the mathematical equations, but you do not need to. At least that's what I've been shown. Okay, so ultimately this comes back to us embodying Christ or God consciousness. Okay, it's nothing to do with religion. It's really just you standing in your virtues and having good morals and ethics and being a good person. And again, all religions usually agree on these basics, but then they get distorted and so forth. Yeah, and we don't need a list of 10 commandments. They're actually written into our DNA, which is coming online now. And it's, again, all interconnected. And it also brings online our gifts and abilities. It brings online the new realities. It brings online our real memories. Because also, false memories, false selves, false data, false history equals false realities. Real self, true history, good data from source equals organic real realities. So as we're bringing all this online from inside, and obviously it's the co-creation with source and the cosmic energies flowing in, it all comes online from inside of us, because the DNA is our film strip, we're the projector, okay, and we are holding these timelines in our DNA. That's what we came here for. We're like blueprint holders for the planetary template. And we're also a rehabilitation host template for all the other races to rehabilitate themselves. That's why this is your mission. I know me doing my work, my main priority is keep doing my inner work. Because if I don't come from integrity, there's nothing really for me to transmit. I'm not saying I'm perfect with everything that I'm saying, that I'm full 100% integrity all the time. No, I'm not. But that's me standing in integrity, because I'm telling you I'm not perfect, and I'm not planning to be, because I do let it be enough. I constantly make corrections of I can do this better next time, or that wasn't so great. But I'm happy with myself and I let it be enough. And that's the main key. So it's constantly, it's like being perfectly imperfect and constantly a master work in progress. All right. But the lack of confidence and self-worth and self-love is the key to everything to unlock, because that's the heart, to unlock everything else. That's the core of your crystal star, of your whole blueprint and tree of life, and again, where your soul moves in. And we're now also merging at monadic level, at collective level. And that's why the heart, and again, also these activations with the crystal core of Earth that I'm talking about, connected to the grid coming online, and the magnetosphere and the pole shift, also connected to our own heart, because I see the crystal heart of Earth as connected to our own heart. When I work with my heart, that's kind of also what I connect to. So it's all interconnected, and I really see ultimately it's like a supernova of the heart. That's what we're going for, and that brings everything else online. And yes, the mind is also involved. It's about equality, a higher heart mind. It's not one or the other. But the mind is not there actually to analyze and really break your mind over trying to figure something out. but it's a receiver and transmitter. What we're going for, the cosmic consciousness coming online, it's beyond thought. It's cognition. It's not you trying to figure something out. It's an intelligence coming through the heart. Not being figured out, nothing you can learn in a book as such. It's through experience that we're doing all of this here. That we're learning what works and what doesn't, because any teaching, anything out there has some truth and some untruth in it. There is not one book, not one teaching out there that is 100% truth. Mine included. Because it's like, first of all, everybody has a different level of truth, but also we just haven't had access to the truth so far. Okay? Because we weren't connected to source. And there have been just distortions in the truth. That's why we need to take what resonates and leave the rest, in a sense. The same when I say something, sometimes I don't say it quite right. Like I always do my best, but also my understanding and my truth is constantly expanding. And sometimes I say, I could have said this better, or maybe expanded a bit more to make it, more understandable. Because also there's never just one answer to anything here. It's all multidimensional. And you can, expand out quite a bit. But the core truths are quite solid and simple. We also need to go back to the basics and simplicity and not make it too complicated. Because again, this is more about our perception and about agreeing that this is actually a hallucination and that we have the power to change it all. And it's not about waiting or having somebody tell us, what's going to happen by when and give us, a plan of this is how it's going to look like. No, it's about, hey, let's come together. What can we create together? Obviously in alignment with divine will, okay, which is all coming online through us bringing our templates online. Like this is like where you then, like me, it's not even me doing it. Like, of course, yes, I still need to, sometimes get over my ego or my, resistance or whatever else to do this, what I'm doing here. But ultimately there's a higher energy working through me that makes me do it and that won't leave me in peace. If I don't do it. So for me, it's not really a choice. But that's like divine will really working through you. But your ego still has a say also, because it's not, we need to get to a nice balance now where it's not, you just sacrifice your own well-being for the greater good of all. Which a lot of us have done to a huge extent just to get us to this point now. Okay, but because we also knew this was the quick way through. So again, what I'm doing, I'm not just doing it for other people, I'm also doing it myself to get out of this nightmare. Quite frankly, of course. So ultimately, even if we do good for other people, it's still always for ourselves. But that's when we understand we are all one. When I help you, I help myself. When I hurt you, I hurt myself. It will always come back to me. We cannot get around this. And that's all what the law of one is about. And which is unity consciousness, which is the time-space coordinate for the consciousness now, for the new organic earth realities. We need to embody that. And obviously that takes, we're getting there. Just also trust that even if you think there's so much still to clear or heal, or it feels like it's not possible, miracles. Miracle healings, have you heard of it? Because that's what I see coming up. And we've already cleared a hell of a lot. So, to come back to the illusion and the hallucination that makes up our realities. So our perception controls our hallucination. That's also, I believe, why the masculine or the brain has been so heavily targeted. Or that's why, the brain obviously is heavily targeted, but that affects the masculine especially. So I really see, like, I have a lot of compassion for the masculine, believe me. Again, my own masculine. I've been a man in other lifetimes too, okay? So, and I have a lot of compassion for masculine because I can see it's so much harder, first of all, to connect to the feelings because of the programming. And then it's also that the mind, because they're more mind-oriented, yeah, they're more left brain, more logical, and more mind. So it's harder for them also to, I think, then truly make the move into the heart and kind of lose your mind in order to find yourself, because you kind of need to lose your mind in order to really drop into the heart. And it doesn't mean that you get rid of your mind or of logical thinking. No, it obviously has a place. But right now, the mind cannot figure this out. The mind will come up with a million reasons why you should have fear or not should do this or that. But your intuition is the thing that comes on first. That's quite, that's like, let's do this or let's do that. But then your mind usually comes in and it's like, no, 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 let's do this, let's do that. You know, this is not all right, or you should have fear, it's not going to work out. You know what I mean? It imagines things and then it creates it. So obviously the mind has been heavily influenced through mind control programming and so forth, which is all literally dismantled now. But the masculine also have the problem of this whole toxic masculinity programming that has been coming up lately, and obviously the whole patriarchy and also the whole, let's say, negative alien agenda is anchored within the masculine consciousness in the hardest. It's this patriarchal control domination energy. And it's very, very hard. I know it for myself. I've also transcended that again, also my energies, and still working on it, always fine-tuning. But it's very hard, I think, for the men to find an identity for the new man. You know, what does it mean to be a man these days? So you're not supposed to be, you know, a wuss, or, you know, be, you know, like there's, like it's gone so far the other way and then around again, you know, like it's very hard, I think, to define what a man should look like or be like. But obviously, ultimately, he's there to protect and to safeguard, okay, not to abuse and attack. And that's a big shift that we need to make now. And I wrote about this in one of my other posts, to really now, whenever you feel threatened or, you know, like triggered by the feminine, by your own heart also, so I'm talking about the mind and the heart, just sit with it, okay, instead of acting out and projecting it. Really sit with whatever has been triggered right now and really try and understand that this is such an important mission right now, to heal that blueprint and to transcend and release all the distortions, to really rise as the divine masculine now. And you are here to define that, what that means. As a co-creation, it is arising from you, because it's also connected again to all the solar activity and the rays coming in and activating in your DNA. It's a memory. But it's also about us picking, like a lot what I do is like, what works, what doesn't, you know, sorting through the programming. And we all need to do that. And we do that through experience. What works, what doesn't. Okay. So, I'm just having a quick look at my notes. So also on Saturday, I noticed a lot of, especially over the last few days in general, so been a lot of distortions in the field, reversals, false projections, interference, again, as all of this clears, yeah? So, and then there's also confusion. You just need to sometimes just sit with it, again, you know, or just wait it out and just observe it all. If you can't make sense of it in a moment, and just ask for clarity, and the clarity will come, okay? Just when you can't make sense of it and you're not clear, just, you know, let it go for the moment and just ask for it to be shown to you. I do that a lot. Just ask for it, you know, overnight. So please clear this for me, or, you know, let me have some clarity on this, because a lot, again, clears in our sleep. And we can have this conversation with Source, our higher levels, and higher self. And it really works well if you want anything healing, manifesting, anything like this. Okay, I'm not saying it always happens overnight and it's done. But, you know, even like bit by bit, I did this when I had back pain. And then, you know, it got better and better. And then you might have a step back. And obviously it's not just this, but it's praying, it's asking, it's healing with your own hands. It's, you know, getting a treatment. It's all of these things together, okay? And a lot of faith that it will get better and that your body is very capable of healing itself, okay? And then obviously whatever else you're asked to assist it with, to help it, okay? Miracle healings are definitely possible. And this is what's coming online now. This is the love portal that I mentioned as well. So on Saturday, when the energies were quite intense, and that also was another, there was like a 111-222 date. Like the 29 makes a 11, or the 11 then makes a 2. Okay. So anyway, it was a strong day, and we did a group call and activation. I posted this on my wall as well, and basically opened up a divine love portal, and it's guiding us into the 2nd of February. I also made a post on this because I am gonna do, like, I have opened, as I said, we opened, it's not me, we opened the portal through the group call, and it's basically we are holding it as these energies and keys and codes are coming in and literally healing us, the final healing step after all of this purification. It's really a beautiful healing that is going to take place now, and that we are opening up to the divine love that heals all. It truly is. And then through the call we had like just C-class solar flares popping all throughout. It was literally just on above even C-class solar flare level, and I think we had 28 that day or some crazy stuff. And then we had the big M-class solar flare, CME, directed at Earth, as we were doing the activation. So that's how you anchor activations and frequency. That was quite intense. I have to say I was a little bit frazzled on the call. It wasn't one of my best calls, but it's still, you know, the nuggets were there. The activation was very powerful. If anybody wants to purchase that for a small donation, you can do that. It's on my page, and I'm going to post later on some links as well of what I've been speaking about. So to help us really just to expand, just to be the love, okay? Just to be the love, and like this event, okay, which is free. It's a gift from me to you and from Source as well to you. And basically it's here for us to be the anchor for divine love, for really to be Source, like pure Source love. Okay, God is love. To be God, see everything through the eyes of God, and literally heal all. Again, that divine love also has crystal clear vision. It has boundaries. It has limits and discernment. Okay, it's all of these things. It's not just like fluffy, doughy-eyed love. Okay, it's all of these things. So, but ultimately, it's to see everybody in their highest form, even someone who's done something to you, okay, and hurt you. You forgive them and you see them in the highest light, and you understand ultimately they've been there to help you resolve and heal your pain, and you're also helping them heal and resolve their pain. But we need to both then know what to do differently, okay, to resolve these situations, if that makes sense. So really the tri-wave that is anchoring now, and also the triple helix within us, okay, that is resolving this bipolar, distorted polarity, and bringing us to the tri-wave, the Holy Trinity, which is the unity grid current, basically. It's the polarities unified as one through the Trinity. It's really unified through divine love, neutrality. So you see all the source, all the and also what it also is, these polarities, is really, it's creation and destruction, okay, which is a natural part of life, obviously. And it happens through the 0-point field, which is neutrality, which is divine love, which is source. And that's what we are doing right now. That's how we are collapsing realities and timelines and creating through the 0-point field. We don't do that from fighting or resisting anything. Okay, we're not attached to our predictions or manifestations or what we think might or might not happen. Not at all. We are in the frequency of celebration, which knows that whatever happens, it's always for our highest good, because it has to happen because it happened, and all of it is a co-creation. There are no such thing really as negative experiences, but the thing is, they're there for us to learn something, so we don't have to do them again. Suffering is only necessary until it no longer is, until you have learned what you came here to resolve. Okay. Just the questions. How do these activations work if your third eye isn't open and you can't see any of it? I do my best to visualize. You don't need to. I mean, everybody feels this differently. I don't feel, I don't see like a movie in my eye. I have, it's more like a cognition for me, okay? So my main gifts would be clear cognizance and clear sentience. So I feel a lot. Yeah, so some people feel a lot. They don't see, they don't hear, they don't get any messages, they might just feel. Especially at the beginning, you know, you get more and more sensitive and more tuned into all of the stuff as you clear out your system. And some people are just naturally, you know, have full-blown, I don't know, clairvoyance, you know, since they're born. I haven't. Or I might have had, but I lost it. And then, you know, we are regaining it or reclaiming it and reactivating it. But there's no right or wrong way of perceiving these activations. Like she's asking about these remote activations I do. Because it's literally you connect in meditation and everybody's experiencing it differently. I also provide, you know, free activations that are guided, like a guided meditation activations on the SoundCloud, and then the one I mentioned that I did on Saturday that you can acquire if you want to. That helps maybe at the beginning a bit more. Like when I started this off, I did a lot more guided meditations. It wasn't so easy for me to be just in silence. Yeah, it takes some practice, a lot of meditation and so forth. But ultimately, there is no right or wrong way of feeling or experiencing that. Some have visual experiences, some just feel something. Sometimes you might not get much at all. Depends on you, depends on each activation is different. Many, many factors. But, and then also, you know, what gifts are the strongest? I hope that helps. Over time, your third eye will open more and more, and you will receive more and more of cognition or conscious awareness of what's going on. But for a long time, I didn't know either. Like, I just liked doing it because ultimately it made me, you know, made me feel a bit better, or just, you know, you're just kind of, I guess, attracted to these things as well. They don't always make you feel better, because even, you know, also through my activation, sometimes people can go through deep clearings. They can also be very expanded. It can be anything. The same as for me. Sometimes it feels like not much is happening. Can be anything. And as I say, as you clear more and more, you will perceive more and more as well. But I wouldn't try to visualize anything. I would just be open to see what happens. And as I said, you can use one of my guided meditations, or I would definitely recommend at least some maybe relaxing music or so on, unless you're totally perfect with just silence. And yeah, there is no right or wrong. I hope that helps and answered that. And also these activations, they're always open and active as I post them. So this is open now. Join if you like. I have it on my timeline. I post it later again. It's called Love One. Okay, Love One. Playing a little bit on the words. And basically it's open to everyone. Let's just join in love. Let's fill up with love. Let's radiate it out, and let's help and heal all. Okay, and just send this out until every willing heart and soul has been touched by that love, which changes and shifts all. And that's no fluffy talk. It really isn't. Really isn't. This is God. That's God's source frequency is what that is. So, again, through the 0-point field, we can create and destruct. So we can create timelines and we can collapse them. Okay, this is what we're doing right now as we're working through these huge themes. And this is really what we've been going through, the final purification and compression breakthrough, and the event is in progress and now about to play out as I see it. The energies are no joke. Look after your physical, mental, emotional health. There is such a thing as Ascension Madness. I did touch on that at the beginning when you don't know anymore what's what. Just ask for clarity, okay? Just observe it. Don't feed into it. Don't identify with it, okay? Ask for clarity to be shown to you. Just don't react to it, okay? Let it pass by you, okay? You're not mad. Nothing is wrong. It's just right now very rocky, okay? So just know what it is. Just flow. Flow like water, okay? Don't resist it. As if you're in a river and you don't resist it. You just let yourself be carried by the river, okay? And you become one with the river, because you are the river. You're the ocean and the drop. So it's nothing ultimately to fear. Just feel it, release it through you, look at it, and know that ultimately fear is false evidence appearing real. Danger is different, okay? Always tune into your intuition. That's why the emotions are also so important, because your emotions are your campus. When you're in doubt, especially with all this false programming of what you should think, okay, or feel like, your feelings are showing you when something is off. Never mind what your programmed brain might try to tell you, okay? Go with your heart if you're in conflict, and then try and bring your mind online and in unison with it afterwards. But like if you're in conflict, to say, okay, I go with what my heart is telling me and my brain will follow. Okay, it will make sense. If that helps. It's like, you know, sometimes when you don't know how you should react to something, or how you should feel, just know that if you're feeling hurt or you're feeling angry, it's telling you that something is off. You don't need to react to it. Just sit with it and go deeper into it for it to reveal you its wisdom, which is what all of this is ultimately about, for you to know thyself, get to know thyself of what kind of trauma or pain is being triggered here, because ultimately it's a blessing. It really is, in order to release this. So see it as a blessing, don't resist it, and open up to your lesson and let it be revealed to you. And that's how you know thyself. And as you know thyself, you know all kinds of cosmic stuff, and also you know your strength and your weaknesses, and then no one can really rock you anymore. You become unfuckable with, okay? And again, this is what we're going here for. Now, the inverted consciousness is purging and resolving itself, as I said, and it can get quite inverted. So just sit with it, okay, until the clarity comes. Also, all discordant sound and light fields are being cleared as the organic, natural ones are coming online. And this is really what matter is made of. It's pre-matter, it's the sound and light fields, okay? And it's also connected to the threefold flame or threefold founder flame. These are the first three rays of creation. Together, I see them always expanding into the white flame, which is also the white flame of purification and ascension, which is really doing what's going on here, especially for the last week and a bit. Okay, so this is really carrying all the corrected sound and light fields, and this is recorrecting and re-encrypting reality along with the plasmas and all of the other activations that are going on. So it's basically huge collective themes being healed and alchemized by us right now. And just know, you are literally, see it as a sacrifice, but not as an, oh, poor me, but more like take it as strength and as pride and as, you know, like a badge of honor that would see you through, of knowing that as you move through it, you are helping it to heal for all of humanity, okay? Which is you. We're all doing this together, and each one of us gets a piece of the pie, okay? So you eat yours, please. So the only way out is through. Alchemize your suffering. This is where all of the wisdom is there, okay? Beneath the anger, beneath the fear, you really get to know yourself, and you will understand behavior. You will break through judgment. You stop judging other people, and you really get to love yourself, because once you understand why you might be acting out or getting angry, and can really embrace your traumatized child, basically, which is the one acting out, that's when you unify. Because this is part of you unifying with all of your aspects. It's by getting to know yourself. So you can't do it without sitting with it and really, you know, self-reflect and talking to yourself and working through the shame and the guilt, which is a program, but ultimately you need to feel it in order to release it and then to transcend it, to see, okay, I didn't do that so well, would have liked to do it differently, but you can only do that and then make the corrections if you're really looking. If you don't want to look, you keep making the same mistakes and you keep recreating unconscious realities. And all of these demons and entities is ultimately the collective unconscious. That's why the problem here is the unconscious. That's the issue here, and we're making it conscious. And that's the job, okay? And that's the mission. And as we fulfill this mission, the fun stuff comes online. And also as you activate your DNA, you remember who you are, what your gifts and abilities are, and what your mission is. Okay? But you cannot do this if all the dense false programming is clogging that stuff up. Then you are just remembering what other people are telling you you should be doing or not doing. So the end of the experiment, which this all is, requires for us to let fully go of the past, to move to and embody new earth, to anchor heaven on earth. And this is what's here now, through us. Okay, but you need to let go of the old. There's nothing to hold on to. It's an illusion, and it was false. You're clinging on to something that is literally fake, and it's not real you, and it's not a real reality, if you are. Okay? So let it all go. And remember, we are transmuting at collective level fear into love. And we do this through us, through embracing and feeling the fear and alchemizing it back into love, okay? Back into wisdom. We are the alchemists. And the major fear is released right now because for us to ascend. Because the fear equals fear matrix. And ascension equals no fear. Okay? You need to transcend all fear of death, literally, and of ego death, your sense of self. That is the ascension. This is what we're doing right now. And we are right in it. So, when you're struggling, just remember, we've been asking and praying for this for a long, long time. Okay? So just stay strong and soldier through it. Embrace your pain, okay? But just don't descend into despair with it. Okay? Just keep observing it, but also feeling it. But it's just a story. Don't over-identify with it, okay? It's both ends. You feel it, but it's also not your real you, okay? And, you know, we really need to be brave in being able to, like, face, you know, where we might, you know, the programming tells us we should feel guilt and shame, which is often religious programming, okay? We need to sit with it and be brave in order to transcend it. But I also have things, of course, I'm not proud of or we don't like maybe to talk about, but ultimately I also use them in my work here and share them with people because, you know, this is not about vanity, or I don't care really what anyone thinks at this point, because I transcended that separated ego to an efficient degree enough where I'm like, even what I think, you know, doesn't interest me as much about my own work. So, you know, like my own criticism is like, just get over it, just do it, you know, just get it done. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just experience it, you know, because you can constantly fine tune, but you can only do this, like anyone who does anything really good has practiced it a lot and a lot. Like, you know, practice makes perfect. And you can only do this by actually keep doing it. Yeah, so to keep fine-tuning your art. So as I mentioned before, so with the 22nd of January, the activations that came in was the final purification with the white flame, the cosmic birth transduction record reset, which is basically our personality imprint totally shifting to our organic original source blueprint, and galactivations, which is the pineal and the back of the head and the high heart coming online, and with that also our galactic memories and other incarnational memories and selves. So it's helping really with bringing on the multidimensional self, and also, as I'm seeing, a disclosure on a personal and collective level. Because again, as this unlocks from within, this then becomes a reality. It's the same when you think about medbeds or free energy. Okay, let's take free energy. It's when we fully plug into that open God Source Black flow return, the perpetual energy flow. That equals bringing online free energy, because it's free, never-ending energy. You see, everything is a reflection of the consciousness. The medbeds, and I don't think they look like, as we are shown it, because it looks a bit 3D, I see them more like crystal healing chambers, okay? Very different. But it does the same in a sense. But ultimately, they come online by us bringing our own healing capabilities online from within, so our own light body and so forth. Because ultimately, we can do this ourselves. But I do believe we would still have, you know, places where we go to for fine tuning more than for healing. And as all this karma also is being lifted, that lifts the trauma. It's just as it's coming up and out right now. This is why it's being so intense. And it, you know, but it lifts. I know you people get stuck in linear, oh, it's so much more. I really don't see that. We have lifted so much for a really long time. And last bit is the miracle healings we've just been discussing, okay? In a blink of an eye. But we do this by the power of divine love, by being source embodied and seeing everybody from the eyes of love. So this also is connected, like the cosmic birth transduction record reset, with correcting the fetal cells at the coccyx, so at the tailbone. So that's related to the reset to the source blueprint. So the fetal cells, there are 8 fetal cells at your tailbone, okay? And they hold also the birth transduction sequence imprint of the entire consciousness. It's also connected to bringing the monadic merge in our avatar embodiment online. Okay, and this is a big one, because it's also connected to reptilian tail implants and so forth, which have been clearing. Most should not have them anymore. And it's really helping us with the integration of our identities. And it's also connected to the clock shield and orientation in space-time, as we're shifting space-time to an organic reality, how it should be, okay? And it's also connecting to astral clearing and nadial repair. So the nadis are also connected to your central nervous system, which I know we've been going through a lot of clearing and upgrades there. But believe me, it is going to get better, okay? We're going to feel a lot more calm. But as you go through it again, you can feel a lot of anxiety, okay? It's these like expansion, contraction. It's just part of it, okay? Until it's all leveled out. And it's also helping with the magnetic adjustments, especially within the feminine. I will post the link later, or I might. How far are we? I can't even see how long the video is right now. But just to read tiny little bit of these 8 fetal cells, what they're about. So basically they're located in our etheric blueprint. So this is from Ascension Glossary now. I post the link later. They are located in our etheric blueprint in the light body, and they control the Kundalini energies and the momentum of the planetary forces as they run through the personal, meridian and nadial system. Main vertical spiritual current column runs up the center of the body, is called the Hara line. Most of us will have heard of that. This is related to the formation of the first 8 cells of the spirit body in the tailbone. It is where the Hara currents come from. And before the Hara currents, we have the core currents that come from the eye of God. So this is also why this is so important, okay? So it's a line connecting us all the way from source to our coccyx, which is our fetal cells. So it's kind of the core, you know, this our source core blueprints are held in. All 9 dimensions of the spectrum of frequency, or the triad of these 3 sets of Kundalini energies, are coiled up within 8 fetal cells located at the tailbone or coccyx. These 8 fetal cells are created at the time of conception. The incarnating consciousness identities are connected in these intelligent layers of spectrum of frequency, which are linked into the silver cord of the soul and hold the birth transduction sequence imprint of the entire consciousness. The Kundalini coils in the coccyx are connected to the silver cord and to the pineal gland in the brain. When the pineal gland receives enough stimulation, through these galactivations lately, of higher dimensional spectrum of frequency activation into the soul bodies, and DNA activation begins, which is where we are at now. And yeah, this is where you have implanted the reptilian tail, which often obstructs and siphons the energies out of the root chakra areas, as well as the earth chakra connector that is about 6 inches or 30 centimeters beneath the feet. So usually we are highly vulnerable there, okay? This is all healing and resetting. So, and this is also connected to our monadic merging at collective level, and the birth transduction sequence, really the shifting of our personality blueprints, okay, to our true self. Okay, let me just check if we have anything else. So what I really see is also with this, you know, the Saturday activation that we did in the group call and opened the love portal, which is now really purifying and healing all and any remaining false programming, false projections, artificial realities, interference patterns, full and final data wipe of the false past and false realities. All and anything connecting us to the false 3D matrix dissolves and transforms now at super quantum God speed. Hence, it's so intense, okay? So again, my love to the masculine, because you're especially affected, because you're usually more in the brain, or all of us, okay, our masculine, the mind. That's why it's so important right now to drop into the heart, as the mind really clears in all this programming, because the heart really knows it's guiding us, okay? Your guidance system is your emotions. It tells you when something is off or when something is okay, all right? and it's more than just the heart, it's your gut, it's your whole, you know, your feelings when you get goosebumps, or, you know what I mean, or just a funny feeling. It's a whole system, but it's so important because it's really your guidance system, because when your mind is confused, and misinformation and confusing us is part of the warfare, or the inversion of the consciousness, let's put it that way, that we need to clear, but we can really not do that by trying to sort it out in our brain. We need to drop into the heart and connect with our soul and source, because it's cognition. It's not us trying to figure this out with the mind, okay, and by reading a book as such, all right? It's more like something that arises from within, because as I see now with these crystalline activations, which are coming online really strong, I felt this afternoon, this is really bringing this all online. Because they also hold the true history and our true memories, and then our gifts and our abilities unlock. It's all interconnected with that. That's why the DNA is so heavily affected and, you know, attacked, and that's why we obviously talk a lot about DNA activations. So take pride and worth from your mission, which is clearing the distortions. Okay, so it's reversed. You going through the shit and your life looking like shit, it's actually you doing an amazing job in a sense, really. Because it's the reversal. You becoming okay with it and neutralizing it is okay. If you think you need to have a job or a house or a bank account or anything to prove your worth, that's false programming. And that's what we're breaking through of. Doesn't matter what anyone thinks about. Even my daughter told me with 8 years old, why don't you get yourself a real job? She did apologize for it later on. But still, in her mind as well, she doesn't quite understand it, why I don't. Because at least then maybe I could have a place, you know, to live in. But you get me? So, but we don't do that because I'm being shown I need to just break through the programming, because I'm going to make this work, and obviously amazing things are going to come online now, where we are anchoring the program of I do what I love and I'm still going to be okay. I do not need to sacrifice my happiness in order to keep a roof over my head, okay? And obviously we are working through that programming collectively right now. I feel there's something huge happening with the abundance level, because that again is also connected to the levels of self-worth and self-love. Okay, so that's why it's important to sit with us, get to know ourselves, because then you're really going to start to love yourself. If you really know yourself, you're going to know yourself as God, and God is love. It's all interconnected. Okay, I hope everybody sees the logic in this. Now, and the masculine also holds the timelines. They hold the fate of the timelines because they hold the rod configurations. Okay. Now, I just wanted to share in regards to the project Looking Glass a little excerpt, because it really feeds into us hallucinating this reality into, you know, it's a agreed upon hallucination. Okay, we're all dreaming together. Now, for those people who know, and I shared about this before in a post, Project Looking Glass was described by a military insider. It was called Bill Wood. He was like a Navy SEAL. And basically he said the Project Looking Glass was a system, he says, that American military reverse engineered from alien technology that allows someone to travel through time and space using their mind, or to see all future outcomes produced by specific choices. Okay, so it was technology, but they needed people, they needed psychics to work with it, as far as I know. So one of the things he says here, okay, which is really important right now, when we have this stuff coming up in the consciousness of thinking what's going to happen, catastrophes, because we've been programmed to think this and to create this, okay? And also, you know, humans imagining things, and then they become real, quite frankly. So that's why fear creates these realities. This is why it's so important to become super conscious of everything we think and believe in and feed our attention to, okay? Like war scenarios, all right? So he shares, the biggest cherry on top of all this conversation would be the synopsis to say that if I could convince everybody out there that for all intents and purposes that we believe to be true eventually becomes true. So if you believe something to be true, it will eventually become true. This is what I found out for this military project, okay, by looking into the different timelines. This is also connected to this whole Q thing. Because that's what they often refer, you know, kind of referring to, where these messages would be coming from, Now, I'm not into that movement, just to make that clear. I just know of it. If somebody convinces us that a major disaster is going to happen in the very near future, a major disaster happens in the very near future. If we don't buy into that fear and accept that there's really nothing that we know is going to happen, and accept that whatever happens, that makes the convergence of the timelines happen as naturally as possible. Because we're converging all timelines into one now moment, an organic creatrix experience, okay? As I'm seeing it. And they saw it too. I again see as a new beginning, an end of this reality and the beginning of something that we can't even possibly understand based on the level of our beliefs currently, which is based on polarity and 3D perception, compartmentalized and dogmatic, based on a level of beliefs currently. But when all that information comes flooding out, there is going to be no denying what's true and what's a lie and what's illusion. Because it's a truth that arises from within our own crystalline network, in the earth, in our own DNA. This is not about comparing notes. This is the truth that arises throughout the human collective, the one mind. And that's what I see coming up, the ultimate awakening. Okay? So, and I'm going to flop back to what I was talking before, back to right now, what needs to be sorted out is any kind of gaslighting, projections, insecurities, lack of self-love, confidence, jealousy, any kind of advice or critique, turn it back to yourself, okay? And sit with it to alchemize it. Going to be my new slogan, sit with it. So, because it's ultimately a projection. Like, you can give advice, okay, but know that it's usually in your reality, because you could also still do more of. So be the change, integrate more of it, because your reality is showing you what's still missing in the field. Even if you're doing it more or less than the other person that you want to give advice to, it's still there for you to embody more of, okay? Because it's all about integrity and embodying what we're speaking about, okay? Drinking our own champagne. And this is all connected again with the abundance piece. Also, insecurities. Insecurity is really, obviously, we feel not secure, okay, as the word says. But it's also not knowing who we are. If you know who you are, knowing thyself, sitting with yourself, you know yourself as God, and then you know you have nothing to fear anymore. This is why this is so important. Just sitting there in silence and really talking to yourself. I do loads of that, a lot. And it's fun now. It's a little bit like a magic mushroom tip, just very, you know, mild, and you just keep going and going. It's not always that fun, but you get me. Like, as in, you just have this conversation with your own consciousness and explore it. This is an exploration of consciousness, as I see it. And part of knowing ourselves and being our true self, which is also bringing our multidimensional self online, is by being our true self. Okay, not our distorted false self. Okay, that's not speaking the truth. That's speaking the distorted truth. Our true self. Okay, and we often don't speak our truth because there is a deep-seated fear and wound in humanity that is afraid of abandonment. Because we've learned growing up we should fit into these boxes, or through group pressure, group thinking, all of this, that we need to fit into some boxes in order to be accepted by those around us. Where we're going, we are celebrating the uniqueness of everyone. Okay? So this is a core human wound that's healing right now. And we can only do this by overcoming our insecurities, by going within, by knowing ourselves as God. Then we don't have any fear anymore of what anybody thinks of us, because we also transcending the separate ego that would even be concerned with what anyone else thinks of us, because what they're thinking is ultimately a projection of their own self. People just perceive you or understand, you know, even what I'm saying through their own lens of perception and the frequency they're at in the moment. It's not really up to me. I just do my job, and what people are getting out of it will differ a lot from person to person. So, yeah. So just know, ultimately, the right people will love you. Okay, the people that don't really matter, and only if you are embodying your true self will you then also find your true soul tribe. Makes sense, doesn't it? And so far we have been our false self, hanging around in karmic relationships because it's just been part of this reality. But we're transcending all of this now. So when you know yourself, you know your strengths and weaknesses, I already said that. And you then embody your true avatar multidimensional self. This is also frequency accretion. It's you reclaiming your quantum. It's you activating your DNA because it's your multidimensional unique self with all these different gifts and abilities and you know, aspects to your identity, which are many things, which is all coming online now. It's many things, okay? You're like hundreds of different personalities, all unified and merged, harmonized and balanced as one. But you have all these different aspects that do different things at different times. But it's unified, you know? That's the multidimensional self. So let us be this divine love portal, heal every cell, every atom of yours and all of creation back to its original source blueprint. Let us be pure source embodied, and pure source love is now healing all remaining trauma, wounds and fears now. So it is. It is done. It's all coming into fruition. It's all coming together. We are here to make it happen for our embodiment. Everything is this. Okay, this is not just about being a healer or offering whatever. It could be you being a mother or working in a shop, being a lawyer. If you know, it's about being. Who are you being whilst you're doing whatever you're doing? Being is enough. But if you're being aligned with your true self, your actions will be aligned with your true self. But you need to, first of all, find your true beingness of who you really are, your true source self. There's many things, you know, it's not even defined. Don't even want to define myself or describe yourself. Your source, you're everything. But you also have very unique gifts and abilities and, you know, aspects to you. And they should be celebrated. But you, first of all, need to love yourself for them. And that will also then, when you love yourself, you love other people. And just imagine, if we all loved ourselves, we loved other people, this would be done. If we owned our stuff, this would be done in a second. So the more we can do this, the quicker this gets done. This is where our power lies. Not by projecting out there and moaning and complaining. It's by, let's take that advice, take it within, let's sit with it, let's make the change happen by being the change. This is how we do this. This is how you activate your blueprint, your DNA, your mission, new realities, everything. All connected with that. All by transcending your inner shadows and alchemizing them back into golden wisdom. Okay? And that's how we're now merging and rebirthing as one consciousness. Okay, I think I said it all. It takes the bravest and strongest and most open-minded crystal hearts and souls, which is the key, the crystal heart, okay, to do this. Really strong, brave hearts, okay, it's a strong heart. That divine love we're speaking about, it's the most powerful force, or not even force, energy in the universe, okay? And it just cuts through all the bullshit, all the lies, all the distortions. Love is truth, love is freedom, love is abundance. It's all interconnected, okay? And it's full liberation. And it's about us remembering that we are already that. It's us remembering outside of time and space, we are already ascended, we are already that, we are already liberated, we are already free. We are breaking and waking up from the dream now. Because as we do this, this reality ceases to exist. And it literally is just held together by remaining thought forms. It's like as if we are on autopilot and still imagining this hallucination. But at a higher level, we have agreed that this is changing now. We are on a fast track. It's been anchored, locked and sealed. It's in progress. This is it. I'm not waiting for anything. I'm not attached to anything, happening or not happening. I'm just going to get on with my life. You know, just stay busy. It's not about waiting anything. I'm not fearing anything. It's nothing. It's not even an event. Maybe it's a total non-event. It's going to be like waking up and just blinking an eye, and then it's like, like waking up from a dream. Like when you wake up from a dream, when it ceases to exist. That's what I'm seeing. One more thing to the all one thing. Okay, if we have conflict going on, ultimately, at the highest level, it's you slapping yourself in the face. It really is, okay? And that's the Ascension Madness where it comes in. So it is all one, and whatever anyone is doing to you, you are ultimately doing yourself, because they are another you. But it's also not you. And that's the madness, okay? Where the right and the left brain go, okay, wires get fried, and no, I cannot compute. Okay, but it is both. So, some people have had dreams like this, where they can see themselves, other people, and I think I had a dream like this as well. Yeah, exactly, where everybody in a dream is you. Because it's ultimately what's happening at the highest level. Okay, so it's on one level, it's serious, and we need to be serious when it's called for, and we need to put our foot down and a boundary, because we need to correct these behaviors that are not serving anyone. That's the point. Okay, but on another level, we also see none of this is personal, it's all a dream, and it's actually a freaking cosmic joke. And only when we get to that level can we transcend the nonsense, the false matrix based in fear, because we can see it's not, it's basically a collective psychosis we're living here. And then you're laughing at the madness. And it's a sacred tool, it's a sacred weapon, tool, the humor, okay? But there are moments when, you cannot laugh. And then, but, there will be moments when you're crying through your tears and you're laughing. I have this quite often when it's like, it's like, all of this together, because you can say, okay, I need to feel this, but you can also see the hilariousness of it, because it's like, it's an illusion. That's the Ascension Madness, okay? It's a real thing. There has been a real risk of psychological fallout at collective level. But we're doing quite well so far. So just know if you're feeling this, okay, that's what it is. Sit with it, just observe it. That would be my tip, until there's more clarity. So yeah, that's fun when you understand that it's kind of, nobody's doing anything to anyone, but you still need to, have your boundaries and limits. And also the part, and basically we're one with all of creation, which is what we're then realizing. It's like you as source dreaming yourself and embodying yourself in all these different forms, just in different, it's like other people are you, just in a different identity, in a different time space kind of thing, if that makes sense. You are another me. That's what it is. So we're all interconnected, but we also need to look after our own sovereign self, and we can't, overextend ourselves, okay? It's all about balance, give and take, but not overdoing it, okay? And part of that fun thing is also and I've said this before, I think in a post, is the thing from the Bible, and I'm really not a Bible person, okay? But this little quote does fit and has always resonated, is, truly I say to you, unless you turn and become like children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Because in the end, we do need to be like children, because joy is love expressed. It's also our creative force, okay? It's the wisdom that births through... no, wait. So, you have love, power, and wisdom, okay? And you have the masculine, the feminine, and the divine child. And only when the masculine and the feminine are really fully healed, what we're doing now, and together in divine union, do we birth the divine child, okay? The third energy through the Holy Trinity. And the divine child is the one that creates, it has fun, it's love expressed. It's us having healed our inner child again. And I truly believe, and I've been shown, that us healing our inner traumatized child, which is the one here that needs to be, now be fully healed, this is when, everything else comes online. It's like the final step, but it can only happen if you've integrated your masculine and feminine, and then you're rebirthing yourself in the, the Christed child, as the Christed child, as the golden child, as the golden new race, in a sense. I mean, we can talk about as many different words and, you know, ways on how to understand it. I look at things in a symbolic and archetypal way more so than anything else. And words are interchangeable. So, yeah. So, let's not take things too personally. Let's keep the humor. At times, you do need to put your foot down, and obviously seriousness is required for it's both end. And again, every situation and moment will require something else. Okay, we're all of these things, and our multidimensional embodiment is about knowing when which aspect and part of us is going to step forward enough. Just one thing I want to say from Yogananda, which comes back to the criticizing and judgmental behaviors that is part of our, you know, programming and separation that obviously goes very, very deep within the human psyche. Okay, is that if you criticize others judgmentally rather than simply commenting on their behavior impartially, that shows you have their faults to work on in yourself. By criticizing others, moreover, you increase those faults in yourself. What you condemn in others, you will have to experience someday yourself. This is the karmic law. In that way, people are taught compassion. Now, even we're getting rid of karma, we're not getting rid of cause and effect. This, I believe, will still be true, okay? This is why this is so important to reverse it all, the false projections, and turn it back inside. Because again, you can give someone advice and help, yeah? But it's the frequency and the energy you come from. You can say something from a discerning place, not from judgment. Okay, that's the difference, and that's what you need to feel into yourself. All right, but just in the end, when everything gets so inverted, you don't know what's what anymore. Just laugh at it all. Laugh at the madness. Laugh at the madness. Okay, because it's a madhouse. What can we say? It's inverted. It's a collective psychosis. The good thing is it's dissolving. It's all collapsing in on itself along with this false narrative. But the real problem narrative is the only one I really care for is the divide and conquer one. That's the one we need to abolish. Everything else is just psychological, like, you know, part of the madness. So it's really all about balance, truly, of balancing the polarities and holding the 0 point field now. And that's how we collapse and create all new realities from that really super invincible place where nothing really rocks you. Everything touches you, but nothing rocks you. It's not that you're like, you know, divine or child. It's not that you're like dead and void of emotions, quite from it. They are your gifts. Your emotions is what is your part of your navigational system, and it's also, you know, helping you to manifest, obviously. So it's the heart and the mind doing it together. Yeah, but our emotions are very important. So always listen to them. Transcend any fear of abandonment. Be your true self. This is what's bringing everything online. Be the change. Stand in integrity. Sit with your shit. No more perpetuating. No more projection, because that's what causes false projections and bad realities. Okay? Myself included. Now, every trigger, every judgment, resentment, anger, all contains wisdom. Sit with it. Go deeper. You don't really need a manual for it. You just need to learn how to be silent with your own mind and with your own self. And there's nothing to be afraid of. It's your own judgment which is telling you that you can't go there, because, you know, it's being afraid of feeling. It's being afraid of the pain. And I get it, but the pain doesn't go away. The pain just perpetuates as you're not addressing it. And it's creating all sorts of crappy realities unconsciously, because you're not conscious of what's underneath it, and why you keep recreating these realities which are keep triggering your pain so it can release. That's the logic behind it. There's no such thing as a negative experience. It's how we're seeing it. Ultimately, it's always serving you. Otherwise, it wouldn't be created. Doesn't mean you need to enjoy them, okay? But you need to see, by sitting with it, of, okay, what am I here to learn? That before I'm just reacting and acting out, okay, I just wait a moment until I have clarity and know what to do, all right? Ultimately, anything you decide to do, it's always the right thing. There is no such thing really as getting it wrong. It's all for experiences, but obviously you can cause yourself and other people suffering. But that even will still be part of your healing journey and understanding more of the human behavior. It's always self-correcting. That's just what the one consciousness does. but it seems like chaos and discord, and obviously is as well, but it's still helping you to come to order and clarity. All right. So that's it. I hope you're going to do well. Love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I know it's been tough, but I really feel and have really full trust that some really awesome miracles are right at the doorstep, and this is our time. We make it so because we co-create this. It's just not hoping and wishing, it's believing and making it happen, okay? By trusting and co-creating it in any which way we feel, writing it down, making vision boards, visualizing it, get things already in order, as I said the other day, get a case for that holiday if you want to, or look up some places you would like to visit, things like that, okay? And keep focusing everything now on new co-creations with other awesome people coming together, because I feel that's really what's coming online now. I know that's what's coming online now for me. I'm very much looking forward to it. I hope this has helped. And I love you guys. Be part of the Love One activation if you like. And I will see you again sometime soon. Thank you for being here now and doing the good work and digging and sitting and just moving it out. And then now we get to do the fun stuff of activating it all and making a lot of magic happen. All right. Thank you guys. Love you. Many blessings. Bye bye.